Hello, guys. Welcome back. It's been a while, but I'm back, and I want to talk to you about Dune, the book. I think I've already talked to you guys about the movie that came out back in 2021, which was a really good movie, and I definitely suggest you go watch it as soon as you can when you have time. And but back to the book. This book is really different. I mean, it's got so many different aspects to it. It is, it touches so many different topics about humanity, about how we interact with one another, how we interact with our future and our past, and it's just a really good movie. I'm sorry, really good book that was written by Frank Herbert back in 1965, and in total, I think there are about 6 books that he has written. And after that, I believe his son with somebody else has sort of written books, sort of like prequel books and books that kind of complement the other books. I don't know about those books. Most people say those books are not as good as the original, that are written by his father. I can't really say anything to it, but yeah, his son has continued sort of the lineage of the books. But uh, me personally, I've read the first one a couple of times, the second one and the third one, and for me, the first one is just on its it can stand. It is a book that can stand on its own, which doesn't need anything, in my opinion. But the second one is really good as well, I have to say. But the third one is good. I like it 100%. But I've heard, I haven't read, but I've heard that the fourth book, and anything that comes after the third book, is a bit more. Like, it's a bit more sci-fi. Like it's a total like it goes a bit bananas. I mean, even Frank Herbert himself when he finished with all the books he's written. I believe he said himself that it kind of got away from him, and because it does kind of get away from the story, but it's definitely worth a read. I have to say, definitely 100%. So regarding the first book, it's a typical sort of story. We got a bunch of royal families that bicker over power and over resources, but this time the book is placed in a the book is set. Then the story is set in far in the future, and it's got a lot of sci-fi aspects to it. I don't want to give away too much because it's like no spoiler comment sort of thing. And yeah, so then you have the typical betrayal to it. And there's always obviously there's one good family, one good house, you could say. There's a couple of bad houses, and then betrayal happens and something bad happens to the good house. But luckily, the son on the new planet, they go to a different planet. Luckily, he finds a way to get revenge. Yeah, revenge, and and even I would say the book highlights how it also highlights is sort of it's dangerous to follow anyone blindly. But yeah, it's I don't want to give away too much, like I said. But what's also interesting is that the actual author said himself that people thought that the main character, who's called Paul Atreides, is sort of a good character, but he didn't want the audience. He was a bit shocked that the audience, after they read the book, thought that he was all good. So he had to write the second book. That was actually one of the main reasons why he wrote the second book, is to kind of to make it clear that he is not all good. He's sort of like an anti-hero. Anti-hero. Me personally, what I like the most about this book is that the way it is written. Some people say it's hard to write, but for me personally, it's I can follow it quite easily, and when I read the book out loud, I don't know why, but it just makes it much more. What's the word? Much more, I guess, much more fun to read. Because I've read it like a couple of times now, and every time I read it out loud, it's just much more fun that way. So the book, it's very philosophical, so it's gonna give you a lot of advice. You can even apply those advices in your real life. I mean, there are some true gems in that book, 100%. There is this one. I mean, this is a very basic one, but because like I said, I don't want to mention anything too I guess, too obscure that you would know. But yeah, this one is one of my favorite ones, but also one of the more well-known ones, which is I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings obliteration. I will face my fear, and I will permit it to pass over me and through me. I mean, come on, guys. That's a banging line right there. It is. This talks about how you should handle fear and how you should look at fear. And personally, every time I think about it, it just and the way we should handle fear is by, I guess, let fear control us. We shouldn't let fear overcome us. What we should do with fear is we should overcome it with courageousness and true belief in oneself, that you can do it. There's also another line, which is book, which, that one I loved so much, the way it was portrayed in the movie as well, and the way it was acted out by the actors. It was such a good, that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. So this quote is, "What has mood to do with it? You fight when the necessity arises, no matter the mood. Mood's a thing for cattle or making love or playing the balisade. It's not for fighting." That is just a banging quote right there. I mean, I'm telling you, this book's got so many gems. This one right here makes me think of yeah, this one again, if you want to apply it to your own life, it's just sometimes you gotta do things even it's in the moment, even when you don't want to do it. You just got to do it. And yeah, like I said, there are so many more different type of, I guess, quotes you say, so many different paragraphs, so many different, similar to these ones that I just said, are in the book. And oh my god, it is just really good. It's a really, really good movie. And I'm sorry, book. And as I also mentioned, the book was written back in 1965, and it was first of its kind back then. Before Star Wars, anything, before any book really ventured into the space of space. But yeah, so I definitely advise you to go and just have a read. I would definitely say that, yeah, go for it. And yeah, going back to the movies, I would say, oh yeah, definitely watch the movies as well. They are so good. There's obviously one that came out back in the 80s, and that one is a bit goofy. But I would say the more modern, the more recent movies that came out, I think they did take some inspiration from that movie. So I can't really hate that movie because that movie came, yeah, because that movie probably built sort of the groundworks for this movies. And also, there's a couple of TV series as well, but I haven't really looked into those because, if I'm being honest, I feel like those weren't done. Actually, you know what? I can't really say anything because I haven't watched them, but people do say some of them are good, some of them are not really that good. But I guess, yeah, it's up to you guys. And but yeah, the part one, part two, 100% go and watch it. Part one, I feel like me personally, I like it more. I've watched it like upwards to 10, maybe even more. I'd say 20, probably more times than that. Part two, oh my god, part two, the end scene, it is so suspenseful and so well done. I would say because this book is really hard to do, like really hard to translate into this movie screen. So I would say Denny has done really, really well in that aspect. And yeah, but yeah, like the part two end scene, oh my god, it's so suspenseful, so well done, and you just kind of feel it. If you're into it, you can you just feel it, and it's just so good. So in conclusion, I would say definitely go for the book. Definitely, I would say obviously start with the first one, the Dune one, and if you're not really into sci-fi that much, I can understand why you wouldn't probably move on to Dune 4. I mean, part like the book 4 and book 5 and book 6, but book 1, 2, and 3 are definitely worth a read. And yeah, like I said, there's so many different aspects to it: philosophical, religious, even environmental as well. And it has so many different aspects to it, and it's just so well done. It's first of its kind, and it really is. The book has also won so many different awards, so it's definitely worth a read. And what's also fun is that the book, it doesn't really have traditional chapters. I mean, it does have sort of like one, like in the book itself, it's got like part one, it's a big chunk, and part two is a big chunk. But but the way it's kind of broken up is with sayings and with like poems and quotes and different things like that. And I love that as well. And I don't really see them. I don't really see that much. I don't really see that a lot in different books. So yeah, 100% go have a look. Go have a look. Go have a read. Go have a watch. And yeah, thanks for listening.